Verifying the number 1 demon is something most players aspire to do from the moment they commit to the game. Being the one to push the limits of difficulty forward is a prestigious title that often entails millions of views and remaining in the mind of the community. The key word being often. Sometimes even accomplishing that doesn't end the way they may have expected. Some of these players and levels have been forgotten to time and never got to be acknowledged as the hardest thing to be done in the game. The year is 2016. Riot's penultimate project, Bloodbath, has held on to the number 1 spot on the demon list since the year prior, and nobody was coming close to challenging its spot as the number 1 demon. As the months went by, it seemed more and more likely that the peak in difficulty in Geometry Dash had been reached, and there was nowhere left to go. That did not stop people from trying, though. Our story begins with an easy demon difficulty level called Wcropolix by Keyblade. It wasn't the most remarkable level by any stretch, but it caught the eyes of a player. Blast CFB saw the level and took enough of a liking to it to beat it and upload it to his channel. Normally, that would be the end of things, but that's not what happened here. Clearly, the level had resonated with him in some way when he decided to make his own Extreme Demon remake of it for himself to verify. He was definitely a capable verifier for an Extreme Demon coming off the back of completing Cataclysm and the Ultimate Phase. Both of these levels were among the hardest in the game in 2016. He couldn't just start trying to verify it right away though. He needed to get new decoration for his remake to stand any chance of being raided because copying another level isn't allowed. So he would bring on the help of Marfa, Marrow, and Knifecap to make it more than just a super buff of Wcropolix. After that was done, it would be time for Blast to start verifying the level. In his first progress on the level, he would already reach the second half with a run of 52%. It wouldn't take him very long to get 71% and 77% after that, and it felt like any day the level could be done. The community would turn their attention to Blast, and he would get this run on July 31st, 2016. The level hadn't taken Blast very long to verify, but speculation over its potential to unseat Bloodbath began immediately as people started to play it. Wcropolix pushed the wave game mode to limits that had never been reached by a legitimate player before. The prospect of something finally topping Bloodbath on the demon list was very exciting. There was one problem with that though. Levels have to be seen and given a rating by the game's developer RobTop in order to be counted on the demon list. For Wcropolix, that day just never seemed to come. No matter how much demand for it to get rated came up, it just didn't end up happening. Blast reached the pinnacle of the game and did the unthinkable, but never officially got recognized for his achievement. Players still did attempt the level, and Molesey would end up the first legitimate victor. As for Blast himself, he would end up going for Bloodbath and closed out his career as a high-level player with victories over Sonic Wave and Yatagarasu. Even past him quitting the game, his level always remained in people's minds as a huge what-if. Would he have stuck around longer had he gotten to be known as the one to dethrone Bloodbath? The only thing we can be sure of is there will always be at least a few people hoping to see the level get its rating someday. Wcropolix was not the only level that attempted to step to Bloodbath. The player and creator Virus would start building a level with the ending of the song Bloodbath used, At the Speed of Light, in a video called Sneaky Preview. It would end up getting the name Blood Splitter, and he would get 41%. Even at this early point in its lifespan, the comparisons to Bloodbath's difficulty would already start to be raised. Virus believed it was easier than Bloodbath's though. After he showed the second half of the level, he would end up changing the color scheme to be blue, and the level name to Angelic Blood. This is how the level would stay. With his Extreme Demon built and ready, he would grind away at it and end up pulling it off. His friends would call the level harder than Bloodbath upon its release. But there's something else that happened before its verification I've been hiding. Trusto would verify the former impossible level, Sakupin Hell. It would be rated and placed at number 1 on the list and formally push Bloodbath from the top. Angelic may or may not have been harder than Bloodbath, but it definitely was not harder than Sakupin Hell. To make matters worse for Virus, it would suffer the same fate as Wcropolix and never get a rating. Sunix would end up beating Angelic in a mere 1.5k attempts at the height of his skills too. Afterwards, it would be relegated to a niche achievement barely anyone in the community knew of for many years. That was until something weird happened. In 2024, one of the game's more popular players, Wushi, would end up rediscovering the level and beating it. The floodgates opened and more popular community figures like Aeon Air would beat Angelic and bring it the attention it needed all those years. Angelic Blood was not the only extreme that Virus would bring to the game. Dating back to before Angelic was even started was Athanasia. It was immediately evident from what was shown in his 49-92 run that Athanasia was on another level of difficulty compared to Angelic. By the time he was able to reach 39% from 0, it had already taken as many attempts as Angelic did. Before he could verify it, he had to sort out the problem of the level's aging decoration that wasn't keeping up with the standards of the time. He'd end up teaming up with a creator named FoxyGD, and surely this new revamped version of the level would finally put his name on the map as a player. Not long after the update, he would end up verifying his magnum opus as a player and creator. Athanasia was definitely harder than the top demons of the time, Athanatos and Sakupin Hell. Unfortunately for Virus, it would only last 1 day as the hardest level before Sunix verified Sonic Wave. It would also go unrated just like the previous levels. Virus has to be one of the unluckiest players in the game to have 2 potential chances to get the number 1 demon foiled due to circumstances completely out of his control. He didn't attempt any other playing feats and would end up becoming purely a creator for the rest of his time in the community. And he did get to have 3 of his creations make it onto the demon list, so he eventually did win in the end. We're now jumping ahead a couple of months past the verifications of Athanasia and Sonic Wave. Sonic Wave had kept hold of the number 1 spot over challengers like Yatagarasu and Erebus, and it was seeming like nothing could beat it. A player named Medius sought to bring an end to that though. He would show off a level by Filk and Moore called Sakupin Realm. It was inspired by Sakupin Hell, but much harder, while maintaining the heavy focus on Wave as the driver of its difficulty. Even this preliminary version wouldn't be hard enough for the ambitious Medius, and he would continually buff the level and make it even harder. Then the level would seemingly be on hold for a bit before Medius brought back an even more buffed version that he was able to do a complete practice run of in 33 attempts. If you wanted to take down an esteemed top 1 like Sonic Wave, you couldn't take any chances on your level having any possibility of being easier. After that, the grind was on. After 110,000 attempts, Medius would get this run. But this isn't where our story ends. Something was off about this run to people. The YouTuber Tosh Deluxe would bring legitimacy concerns to the public due to a lack of click audio in the video, the fact it wasn't done on stream, and no shown attempt count. He theorized that Medius used invisible objects to make the hardest parts of the level play themselves, and then deleted them and no-clipped the level to upload it. Medius's response to the allegations was to upload progress videos of him live playing, recording his monitor with click audio. Overall, it's never been definitively proven whether it was legitimate or not, and it's something people are still unsure of today. Ironically enough, Tosh would end up being proven to have used the very same method he accused Medius of on his verification of Devil Vortex. A whole 5 years after this all went down, Wcropolix would become the level's first verifiably legit victor. He would also reaffirm the fact it was indeed worthy of being number 1 at the time it was released. Medius stuck around and would beat other extreme demons with click audio and everything going forward, and was never accused of cheating anything past the Coupon realm. In the end, the muddy nature of the level was likely what prevented it from ever being recognized as the number 1 demon. Death Corridor is one of the most iconic levels ever created in Geometry Dash. Many versions have come and gone over the years, but we're going to focus on Death Corridor Z. During the reign of Sonic Wave, its verifier Sunix was looking to challenge himself and would make his own version of Death Corridor. He rebalanced the gameplay to his liking and first showed his version with a 65 to 100 run on stream. The level would go on the back burner for some time though, as he turned his focus to rated top demons like Erebus. After he handled the levels he needed to beat, he'd return to the level and get 53%. After that, it'd officially get the Death Corridor Z name. Then the grind began. It was undoubtedly a new number 1 demon in difficulty, but it would never get ranked on the demon list. I've been neglecting to tell you the fact that Sunix's version was not the official version of the level. That title belonged to a player named Wcropolix, who'd been grinding the level for a long time. Because of that, any versions of the level that were not Kugel's wouldn't get rated. Death Corridor Z was still very ambitious for its time, being in the same difficulty tier as Bloodlust, while being verified 4 months prior to it. On the current day demon list, Bloodlust is on the edges of the top 100, while Sonic Wave has been off the top 150 for months. To say it was a huge jump in difficulty was an understatement, and the fact Sunix did it all while knowing it wouldn't be rated is crazy. Sunix is still considered to be one of the greatest players that's ever touched the game. Even though this version of the level couldn't be rated, the air swipe version of Death Corridor wouldn't stay dead. Ice Cave would end up refreshing it a little bit and getting in contact with the original creator Chaotic Jumper to make his version of the level a second official version, which he's still trying to beat as of this video. Even if things didn't go their way, all these players should be celebrated for giving it their all to try and push the limits of the game. They gave up many hours of their time trying to beat these levels, and even if many years have passed, deserve to be celebrated for their achievements.